Hey guys, just wanted to give you a quick overview of some of the actor components that I've been working on. Some of these guys are a bit old. I just never got a chance to showcase them, and some are obviously more recent, like the fully destructible city that I showcased in my previous video. So today I wanted to give you an overview of some of the other components that I've been meaning to show for a while here. And the idea here is that as you're building your level, you're going to have obviously your own meshes, your own actors, uh, anything that you import to make your game playable. Um, so there's certain functionality that I wanted to include as a component that you can just quickly add to anything in your scene. And it won't, so you don't have to depend on, say, a blueprint to do specific things. So I have a few spheres here that I'm going to use. These are literally just static meshes that I pulled into the level, and we're going to take over an overview of the components here. So the first one here is comp add points, and I'm just going to add it to the sphere here. And all this does is allows you to add points to the player when the actor is hit. So in this case, I'm going to add 10 points, and I'm going to do it once. So if I hit play here, you can see I have 0 hits, and as soon as I hit the sphere, now I have 10 points here. I can take this out instead of just doing it once, and I can continue to hit this to get more and more points. As you can see here, 40, 50, 60, etc. So now you have the ability to put any object in your scene and make it give the player points. And of course, every 100 points there's a life there, so you could have maybe a special object that the player can hit multiple times on a timer and give you the points that you need. Another one that's pretty cool is the component hover. It's super simple. This basically gives any mesh that you have or any actor the appearance that is hovering. This is obviously a space shooter, so you're probably going to be building a bunch of levels in space. All this does is gives the component a C offset, and I'm going to make this like 200 to make it a bit more obvious because of the size. But if I hit play here, you'll see now that the sphere is just going up and down by 200 units. So it looks like it's hovering. Super simple. The other one is a component move, and all this does is it moves the actor in a certain vector. In this case, let's just change this to a Z. Let's make it to like a 20, and this is on a timer. This is the actual offset, right? So think about it like 20 units per frame or 20 units per, and I think I'm using a timer here, 0.01 seconds. You have the option of destroying the actor when it reaches a certain distance, and I'm going to click this here. And you want to do that for performance reasons, right? So let's say that it flies off the screen, your player moved on, there's no reason for you to continue moving this actor. You can just go ahead and destroy it. And then you have the option of activating the movement on proximity. Say you have the object at the end of your level, you don't want it to start moving when you hit play, right? You want it to start moving when the player can see it. So you now can configure the radius of when it'll be active, right? In this case it's 50,000, but you can make it like 10,000 or 20,000, whatever you want, and making sure that it moves just when the player starts seeing the object. So if I click play, you can see now that the sphere is just moving up, and eventually when it reaches the 10,000 offset, it'll just destroy itself. There you go. Another one is the on component hit use physics. Again, very simple, but all this does is it makes sure that when you hit the actor, it just starts simulating physics, right? So if I just hit the sphere, you can see now that it's basically simulating physics, and I can actually push it. And why would you want to use that? Well, maybe you want a building to topple when the player hits it, or you want rocks to fall down when the player hits it. You can think about many different use cases here, but again, it's just simulating physics, right? So if you're in space and you have 0 gravity, then it actually won't fall down, right? But you can still push it around by hitting it. So pretty nifty and very simple to add. And the last one here you guys have already seen on another video, but it's basically a component that allows you to track anything in your scene in the radar. So I just added it to the sphere, and I'm just going to make this a pickup, for example. And if I click play, you can see now that this is being tracked as a yellow dot on the map. That's the icon for pickup here. Okay, cool. Two more things I wanted to show. I'm using this for my trees. This is the component Simulate Physics, but on hierarchical instant static mesh level. So the same thing as the previous one I just showed, which is Simulate Physics on one object. This you add to an instant static mesh component, and it'll do the same thing as the destructible buildings. It'll take a health for an instance, and you can choose to destroy or not the instance, and it'll replace the instance with another actor. In this case, it's a tree 1 blueprint, and all this does is replace it with a tree and simulate physics. So instead of having, let's say that you want to have the trees with the ability for you can knock them down, you don't have to put individual trees with simulate physics. You just put one mesh or one instant static mesh component here, like I do, and you can add this, and now you have fully destructible trees or fully physical trees. So in my entire level of Corneria, I just have 2 actors that contain all the trees. Right? You can see as I'm going front, more and more trees are appearing because I have them calling for performance purposes. So you can have literally hundreds or thousands of trees, or literally any mesh. And now when I click play, now I can actually knock them down by simulating physics on that specific instance. You can see there that it seamlessly replaces it with another tree, and it simulates it. And by the way, you can just crash into it as well, and it'll still simulate because it's using the unhit event. So now, on my entire level, I have 2 instant static mesh components for hundreds and hundreds of trees, and now all of those trees are fully dynamic. If you hit the tree, it'll actually fall down. And last but not least, this is just more for fun. You've seen this before. I have, for my buildings, I have the same thing. I have just a few actors with instant static meshes that have the specific building. So every single building of each type, you can see as I'm selecting them here, has a bunch of instances. And all these guys have the Destructible HIM component. So in literally a matter of minutes, I turned Corneria into a fully destructible version of itself, which I think is just freaking amazing. Just so much fun and so versatile. So if I'm just flying around here, all of these different buildings are just a few different actors. So you can see here that I can now fly around and destroy the buildings in a very efficient way. And you don't have to make them disappear, right? I have them disappear after about 30 seconds. And the reason for that is, well, my graphics card is not very good. So it's just for performance reasons. But you don't have to do that always. It's up to you. But yeah, as you can see here, Corneria is now fully destructible. And it's still very much efficient because I'm using instant static meshes. All the trees are now fully dynamic. You can tumble them down because they're simulating physics. And this is all done literally by dragging a component into any of the actors in your scene. So let me know what you think. I think this is just pretty cool. So we'd love to hear your feedback on it. If you like where this is going, let me know, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks a lot.